In today's video, we're going to be going over some absolutely amazing, cool weather fragrance clones, whether it's fall, winter, or a cold spring day or whatever it is. These are going to be well suited for that time of year, that temperature zone. Obviously, these are clones, so they're going to be way more affordable than whatever the original that they're trying to inspire to smell like would cost. Some of these, I mean, could be, you know, $200, $250 less than the original. Some maybe even a little bit more than that. Others might be not quite as an extreme of a difference in price, but no matter what way you cut it, you are saving money. Not to mention these are all standard size bottles, you know, 100 ml, roughly around there. Whereas some of these that are being, you know, cloning some other scents might come in a smaller bottle that are still going for a crazy price too. So I'm going to link everything down below. Like always, you have to shop through discounters to pick up clones. You can't really get these at retailers, so that's about your only option. Anyway, now this first one is more of an all year rounder in my opinion, but I wanted to throw it in just for ultimate versatility. And then from here, we're really going to get into the sweeter scents, but it's Armaf Club de Nuit limited edition parfum. Okay, so it's huge long name, but it's Club de Nuit Intense Man limited edition parfum. Difference between this and the regular parfum. So this is going to be one of the most premium Aventus clones that you can buy at a price that's still reasonable. Usually going to be around the $50 range for this. And this is, I believe, a 105 milliliter bottle. So, you know, basically standard size, right? A couple extra sprays you get there with that 5 milliliter difference, but nonetheless still pretty cool. Just, man, super, super impressive, very accurate, even has great quality as well, which we didn't get quite as much of in the original Club de Nuit Intense Man, the Eau de Toilette, the first one that was released years ago and got really popular but was hated on because of the strong lemon pledge opening. Yeah, that's gone. That's a thing in the past with something like this. And to be fair, they kind of fixed that in the EDP and the regular parfum as well. But this limited edition parfum is just really, really good. Again, to put it this way, a premium Aventus clone without paying a premium price tag. You know, for me, Aventus has always been a summer scent, right? Pineapple, apple, bergamot, blackcurrant with a lot of woody notes as well. It screams summer. However, I still like to wear it in fall and winter time, and I think a lot of people do as well. Some people have been shocked that I consider it a summer scent because of the strong woody presence that it has. So I don't know, you can look at it either way. I just know if you want something that is supremely versatile for a great price, Club de Nuit Intense Man limited edition parfum would be one of the best you can get. You could go for the regular parfum, you could go for the EDP, but in my opinion, if you are going to break out the money and you're going to put it somewhere, get this one. To me, this one's the best. Now let's start getting into some of them really good sweet scents. This first one here is a newer scent from Dumont. It is Soprano Fury. So came out, I think it was either this year, if not last year, but I think it actually might have been this year's release. This one has iris, caramel, plum, and orange. I believe some hazelnut in here as well. So here's the deal, you know, what does this smell like? I've done a review on this already, or, you know, so at least covered it in a video. I can't remember if it was a review or first impressions that I did, but I've talked about this one standalone before. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that it smells a little bit like Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal Absolute, and believe it or not, mixes in a little bit of 1 Million Lucky. And you're thinking, that's kind of weird, right? Well, that's where this hazelnut plum mixture is coming from. So that's what 1 Million Lucky uses. You get the plum, you get a little bit of this gourmand hazelnut smell, but then you're getting a similar type of sweetness that is found in Scandal Absolute. So that's kind of where I view this one. Maybe more of a kind of a hybrid clone deal going on here rather than being just standalone, smelling exactly like one thing or the other, which we've found that to be pretty common these days, whether it's by design or not, I'm not sure, but I can tell you I don't mind that at all, actually. You know, when you're somebody who owns the originals of everything that these clone brands put out, I essentially have like double or triple redundancy, because not only do I have backup bottles of a lot of my favorite fragrances already, now I've got clones that smell like them too. So I'm like 3 or 4 deep of the same smell. And so to have something that, you know, maybe is taking that DNA that I love and that I'm familiar with and reworking it in some way, even if it means just tossing in another type of scent. That's pretty cool. 1 Million Lucky, over $100. Scandal Absolute, also over $100 on discounters. This is going to be somewhere around $40. Now, if you want to save 10% when you buy yours, go over to perfumebox.com and use code CHAOS10. That code works site-wide. So anything that you buy, you could save 10% there. They've got all the Dumonts, all the nitros and stuff. They've got this and just a bunch of other stuff too. So that's a nice little way to get a bit of a discount. This next one is Tribal Gold by Grandeur Elite. So you could kind of maybe make an assumption based off the color of the bottle, that gold. Well, I won't leave you hanging. It is a Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir clone. So that one needs no introduction. It's kind of in its own little league there in terms of popularity points because it pretty quickly became very popular. Now, what is it all about? Well, it's all about the tobacco and the honey. That's a fantastic mixture, and it's used in that one. Honestly, it gives a little bit of a maturity to the Le Male lineup, which really we haven't had before. That's always been kind of lacking in that line. They're really focusing and doubling down on the younger crowd, and you could tell just by their marketing and, of course, by the bottles and the shapes and the designs and stuff that they use. It's very clearly marketed for younger guys, right? But Elixir kind of took a step away from that a little. You still do get vanilla along with that. You get tonka bean, a little bit of like a lavender, but man, we're not really seeing too much of an aromatic focus out of Le Male Elixir. It's still very sweet. That tobacco-honey combination is what is the driving force for the scent. That's what stands out the most, and that's what gives it the most character. Le Male Elixir is somewhere around $100 to $120 on discounters. This one is going to be, whatever it is, 30 to maybe 40, but I'm thinking maybe more so in the $30 range, and it gets you very close. Again, that's a lot of money saved that you could take and put elsewhere into a couple other clones, or save it and, you've not spent as much, right? So different ways you could look about it, but this one is very close, very accurate. This next one is Paris Corner Amir Cherry Cola. So again, this one probably stands out as well. It's actually a Tonka Cola clone. Came out not too long after Tonka Cola, so it seems like they were ready to go. They fired this one off pretty quickly. As soon as Tonka Cola started building some traction, getting some hype, they dropped this one on us. And the question always comes up, do you need Mancera clones? Because Mancera is a niche brand that is always found under $100 for 120 ml on discounters. And again, as simple as it may sound, the answer is going to vary from person to person. For some people, it might make sense to just spend the extra money and get the real one. Other people might not want to, might not care enough to do so. They just want to get that smell, and if they can save some money doing so, why not? I think Tonka Cola these days are going to be, I don't know, somewhere around 90 maybe on discounters, and maybe this is going to be somewhere around, I don't know, $25 to $35 or something like that. So there are some savings to be had if you want to go that direction. But this one does have cinnamon. It's got that Coca-Cola type of fizzy, bubbly smell. And then, of course, tonka bean, it's in here. It's a sweet, bubbly, kind of playful scent, really. It's, to me, more of a playful imagination of Roja Enigma, which is a pretty mature and kind of, I don't know, kind of classic smelling scent. For lack of a better term, it just has that mature kind of older smell to it a little bit, whereas this is a little bit more easygoing, a little bit more laid back, again, a little bit more playful and casual. Let's go for a Valencia Uomo Intense, and I believe this is by Emperor. Trying to see, I can't see it on the bottom, but I think that is the clone brand behind these. I think this is around $20. I can't remember for sure, but very affordable. I mean, they've even got a similar texture as well, so they spend some time picking out the bottle for this one. Valentino Uomo Intense clone, as you could probably tell, just the name is very much hinting towards it, and of course the bottle and the gradient and all that stuff, right? Now when we get into the smell, it is also a clone of Uomo Intense. It has the iris, but what they're doing, of course, is they're throwing in that leather, and that's what separates Uomo Intense from Dior Homme Intense or Gentleman EDP or any of the other iris scents, is that pretty strong focus on leather. You know, the only other time that we really get leather is, I don't know, I guess Prada L'Homme Intense, which is kind of a different scent entirely, and Dior Homme Parfum, which is also a different scent entirely. So to have more of a straight down the middle type of Dior Homme Intense smell, but all they're doing is just adding in leather and that's kind of it. That's essentially what they're doing here, and it gives it more of a masculine smell, whereas something like Dior Homme Parfum, throwing in oud and rose, and it kind of takes that one off in a different direction as well. But this one still maintains a designer level of wearability and mass appeal, and that's what's nice. You know, One More Intense these days still going to be around $100 or a little bit more on discounters. It hasn't budged off of price. I think it's always been on the pricier side, but this again is going to be much more affordable. You can buy a couple of these for the price of one Valentino. Now, I've talked about this one highly a lot, and it still blows my mind how good it is, how great of quality it is for $20. Charuto Tobacco Vanille by Pandora Scents, also known as Paris Corner. Okay, so they're the genius behind this one here. Tobacco Vanille clone, and it is one of the best. You wouldn't think so because it's so cheap. I mean, $20 is in that zone where it's very much hit or miss. You're either going to get something that is at the very best good, or at the very worst horrible, and you know, something you would throw away. This one is kind of an enigma where it's like very, very good, and I wasn't expecting that. Though it has that tobacco smokiness with this kind of pine tree, green, Christmas tree smell, and a little bit of this fizzy kind of slight booziness as well. It is just, wow, so good. Also has this powderiness about it too, like a powdery benzoin rather than straight up like syrupy vanilla. So that's kind of one thing about this one that's maybe a little bit of a differentiation, I guess. But wow, it is just so good, so comforting, and just it has Christmas and the holidays written all over it. Just that portion of the year, basically like after Thanksgiving up until New Year's. That's what this smells like, just everything related to all of the holiday festivities. Really heavy bottle as well, thick glass, nice frosted look to it as well, which typically we see frosted glass in summer scents, but they did it here, a darker frost for this winter scent. Great stuff all around and worth the $20 10 times over. This next one is Jack of Clubs. This is by Fragrance World. The bottle doesn't really allude to anything on this, but it is a La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electrique clone, which, man, I absolutely love. For those of you who were around during that whole Blue Electrique confusing time, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you're new, well, it was one that was released and immediately took off because when us reviewers got our hands on it, and by the way, I purchased mine. I don't know if anybody else got theirs sent to them, but I did buy mine on my own because I was highly interested. And we realized that they smelled a lot like La Nuit de l'Homme, old school La Nuit de l'Homme with that rich cardamom. You know, things kind of spread pretty quick. People were after it. And so retail was all that you could get it at, and it sold out quick. Got discontinued before it even hit discounters. It was in a span of like a year where this stuff blew up and then got impossible to find. And so funnily enough, by the time it started actually popping up on discounters, it had already been discontinued at that point. So you could imagine that when it would pop up, it would sell out almost instantaneously. But anyway, that was just kind of a really bizarre thing. I don't know why they discontinued that, or maybe it was just a limited edition in the beginning, but luckily we don't have to worry about trying to find bottles because you're just not really going to be able to anymore. Very, very limited run. I mean, even more limited than obviously Dior Homme Parfum and Gucci Envy and so many other sought after scents, right? But you can get this one here. It's going to get you basically exactly the same. It's got that OG La Nuit de l'Homme cardamom richness, but with the tiniest bit of a modern blue twist, hence Blue Electrique. It's just very, very slight amberwood. That's it. But still maintaining that OG La Nuit de l'Homme smell. It's great, and it's perfect for fall and winter time. And the other thing about it too, what caused all the hype, was it performed significantly better than regular La Nuit de l'Homme. So you can imagine why people were wanting this stuff. Last up for this video, we have Amir Fire Your Desire. This is also Paris Corner. No, they did not sponsor this video. Nobody did. It's just kind of how it worked out. Sometimes when you have a clone brand that then goes out and does a bunch of different stuff, you don't even really remember what the brands are. Like, I had to double check. I know it's Amir, so I figured Paris Corner, but the brands really don't matter all that much, to be honest with you guys. Fragrance World, Lattafa, Paris Corner, they all put out such good quality that they're almost interchangeable. Like you're really not going to find a bad clone from them at this point. So, I wouldn't focus too much on the brands. Just go for what you're seeing brought up, because those are the ones that are accurate and worth purchasing. And this is one of many Angel Share clones by Kilian. So there are other options. This is more accurate though than Camera. Camera was a little bit of a deviation. This one has cognac, cinnamon, praline. They basically just jotted down the notes that Camera had listed off and threw it on here. But to be fair, it does have all that because it smells a lot like Camera, just at a fraction of the cost. And I've got to say too, a nice small detail, I guess, or just small thing to overlook, but the bottle is really cool. You've got this little tassel thing over here, which is not, anything crazy, but raised plaque on the front. I don't know if you can see it. Nice gold cap, gold accenting. It doesn't show very well with all the light, but really cool bottle presentation. I mean, I honestly might prefer this over the Camera bottle. It looks more classy. Honestly, it looks more expensive than what it goes for. Alrighty guys, there you go. Some fantastic cold weather clone fragrances you should consider picking. I'm gonna drop links to these down below to discounters. Also, FragranceNet 40% off code is active. They only run this once a year, usually from around now until like New Year's. And they take it away, they put it back to 37%. Sometimes they drop it back down to 35% for a while. So if you want to apply that 40% off code and save while you can, hit the link in the description. It's going to automatically apply whatever best, highest code is currently available. And then from there, you can do your shopping and you'll get that 40% off. That 3% addition might not sound like much, but you would be surprised how much that adds up, especially when you're spending, hundreds of dollars. I mean, it really makes a difference. So do your shopping, click through that link. You're going to get the best discount. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.